My name is Eric Senft. I'm going to be your host here for the next hour and a half or so. Welcome to our DTS trading room. Okay, the market's just opened up. For those of you who are new to the room, let me give you a really quick overview of what you're looking at here. This is the diversified trading system, and it's diversified because we're looking at the market from three different points of view. Here in the top left, we have the Hawk Micro Scalper. And as the name suggests, this tool has been specifically designed to pick up scalping type trades. Top right is the Falcon Swing Trader. Bottom left is the Eagle Trend Trader. And the bottom right is the Raptor. Now, the Raptor is the latest addition to the DTS family. The Raptor actually incorporates elements of the other three birds all into one trading tool. The charts you're looking at here are the NASDAQ. I'm also watching gold and crude oil on my other monitor, but I would be happy to take a look at any market which is of interest to you. And we'll try to take a couple trades here this morning as well so I can show you how everything works. All the trades develop the same way. For instance, when you get some of the trade parameters being met, you're going to get a warning dot and an audio alert. And then when all the trade parameters have been met, you're going to get a triangle and a hash mark. And that tells you that the trade is ready to take. Now, we have different types of trades that we look for. For instance, this little trade right here, just prior to the open, is what we refer to as a first micro macro cross signal. And essentially all you're looking for here is for the thin line, that's the micro line, to cross the thick line, that's the macro line, and everything to come into sync. So in other words, you're going to have red trend lines, you're going to have a red signal, red bars, and a red filter. And you can see that had some pretty good follow through. It actually gave you a little bit of heat here. It developed into what we call a macro pullback signal, which is just having tremendous follow through right out of the open. But in most cases, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for confluence in the signal. So in other words, this was a trend change signal in the Falcon. The trend line goes from green to red. The market comes down. It goes up. This shows us the buyers trying to recapture the trend. And here the sellers come back. The trend line never changed color. And look what a fantastic signal that was. These lines that you see on here, I'm going to show you a few add-ons today. This is one of them. These add-ons are not DTS specific. Okay, you can put them on any chart, so even if you're not using DTS. These add-ons here are the Ultimate Support and Resistance Suite. And you get an assortment of 21 support and resistance lines, which are forecast for this trading day or the next trading day, the current trading day. Hold on a second, I'll get you the link where you can find out more of this information for some of these things you're going to see here today. And Deb is asking for the E-mini and the DAX. Absolutely, Deb, we can do that for you. Way to go, Mark. Mark says, good morning. Just took another nice trend change signal on the Falcon NASDAQ just now for 3 contracts for a profit of 25 ticks. Well done, Mark. That's this signal right here that he's talking about. And you can see it broke the median line, bounced off the primary resistance, broke the median line, went right down here to the primary support. So right now the market's still wedged between these three lines right here. These tend to be the most significant lines regarding trend. Once the market gets past those lines, you actually see it make a little bit of a trend. Let me go back here a couple of days. Yesterday, you can see the market pretty much kept reacting here to this resistance line. Oh, come on. Where are you? Here we go. Oh, no, even the day before, we didn't get outside of that range. Hold on, I'm going to make you dizzy here for a second. No, we're only tracking 3 days back. Okay, you'll have to take my word for it. Once we get outside of this range and we get into our secondary resistance or support lines, that tends to define a market that's trending a little better. But now that we're back down here on primary support, we might actually see a little bit of a reaction. These are not, people always ask, are those fib levels or pivot points? No, they're not. They're better. No, honestly, they are. They're better. If they happen to coincide with one, then it's more by coincidence than design. Okay, this tool down here is the Eagle Trend Trader. And you can see as far as trend goes, we're still a little bit range bound. You can look back here in the history of the chart. The last day in the overnight even was pretty quiet. So the market finished off a lot of activity going into the close. Where did you stop? Okay, so the market finished right about here. A little bit of movement through the, actually quite a bit of movement through the after hours. There must have been some report hit the floor just after the market closed. And then the Asian session started right about here. No real, well, actually, this was a decent signal here. This was a red bar buy, but it looks like it unfolded a little bit too quickly to really take advantage of. This was another red bar buy off of the hard edge. Here on the Eagle, this band gives us our direction. Once we encounter the hard edge, we usually anticipate some sort of reaction, and we got one here. You might have been able to take advantage of that one. Not much in the Asian session and not much in the overnight. Pretty quiet overall. It's a shame we didn't generate a signal here. Wonder why it didn't do that. But whatever the case, it looks like we're going to see a little bit of a retracement, maybe a bounce into the hard edge again. And before I move into the other markets, this here is the Raptor. And the Raptor, like I said, incorporates elements of the other three birds. So we've got actually a trend change signal right here. The cloud crosses over and we gain some support from the cloud, or in this case resistance from the cloud. We have that all-important test of the extreme though, which we like to see. Test of the extreme simply shows us that the market is testing the highs, trying to recover the trend, in this case the uptrend. Then we get the failure and the signal and a nice little move lower, and now we're in a little bit of a sideways congestion, as you can see. This tool that you see here on the Raptor, this is also one of these add-on tools. It's not specific to the Raptor nor to DTS. This is what we call the Geiger counter. It's a tape reader, as you may have guessed. It shows you the time and sales. It shows you the buying and the selling pressures. And you can see right now we're getting a little bit more selling going on. Sellers trying to come into the market here. Keep hitting these lows. And the Geiger counter, I'd really like to see this meter press hard here to the short side. That would show me that there's a whole lot of selling going on that the buyers are unable to absorb, just like that. Oh, they didn't hold it very long. There we go. And you can see we start to get a little bit of follow through on that signal. So the Geiger counter, useful for initiating a signal, but also really useful for helping you decide how long you want to stay within a trade. All right, so there's a real quick overview of the different tools. And it looks like we missed out on a pretty good move there to start, but not to worry, we will find another. All right, so Deb is asking for the E-mini and the DAX. Let me put the DAX up on here. We'll look at that first, and then we'll take a look at the E-mini, see what's been going on there. Oh yes, I almost forgot to tell you. You're going to be seeing this tool here, on the right side, this control panel. That's probably the most important tool of them all. It's called the Trade Manager, and it does exactly that. It manages your trade. These blue dots that you see here, this is the stop strategy that you would employ, and there's 16 different stop strategies to choose from. They're all customizable. So right now we're on the ATR strategy. If I wanted to make that a little bit more conservative, can turn it on and off. Down here we have the risk management component. This is a lifesaver right here. If you've never heard about the correct money management for your trading, this tool does it all for you. It essentially keeps you from blowing yourself up. And it maximizes your profitability at the same time. I know, hard to believe, but it's true. So let's say we're looking here at this first micro macro cross that developed in the DAX. Oops. So if I wanted to enter my trade here, I don't have a whole lot of structure for risking my trade. I'd probably try to risk it up there. Okay, Trade Manager says, according to my account size, risking 2%, I could take a single contract to do that. However, if I chose to risk it a little bit tighter, Trade Manager says, okay, you can afford to take 2 contracts. But notice the whole time, the risk amount never really changes. It's $275 here, and it's $287 up there. The whole idea is that you are always controlling your risk exposure. Okay, so Deb, I don't know if you're, what time zone you're in, if you're looking to trade the DAX in the overnight, which is of course native to the DAX, but we'll take a real quick look here at the 3 different tools. Looks like you had loads of opportunities last night. Even if you just stuck with the high probability signals like the first micro macro cross. London Open, first micro macro cross, boom, look at that baby go. Macro pullback took a little bit of heat, but it did get to your high probability profit target. Oh, actually went on further. Another first micro macro cross signal. Those are probably the highest probability signals as far as the hawk goes. First micro macro cross signal to the downside. Let's see, did that one hit its high probability target? I think that might have just made it. Yep. And another first micro macro cross to the upside. Macro pullback signal. Oh, that one failed. Okay, here you're going to see something you'd never see a room moderator show you. A trade that did not work out. This is why it's so important that you can control your risk. So here, macro pullback signal, this is usually a pretty solid signal. We would expect at least a test of the extreme here. And there it goes, it's trying, and then all of a sudden it fails. Now I would be looking for, oops, I'm sorry. I would be looking for the buyers to try to recover this market somewhere through here. And I'd be looking for an opportunity to roll my stop. Actually, this one here with the wick on it may have been my best opportunity, and there you go, they finally stopped me out. But this is why I always encourage people not to jam their stops in too tight initially. Sometimes the market's going to flounder a little bit and you need a little bit of room. But by controlling our risk, yes, we took a loss. Yes, it was unpleasant, but we didn't lose more than we could afford. Another first micro macro cross, that one also had good follow through. Macro pullback never triggered. First micro macro cross, great follow through. This macro pullback hit its target before reversing. See this test of the extreme that I talk about? There's that test of the extreme and the subsequent failure. First micro macro cross turned into a macro pullback, loads of heat, green bar sell, and then it finally goes lower. Another green bar sell. These tend to develop toward the end of a trend. And that one had a little bit left in it. So it looks like if you were trading the hawk with the DAX, you had just a plethora of opportunities. Another first micro macro cross. My goodness, how quickly are these developing? No, you've got about 5-10 minutes between signals. Make sure you drink lots of coffee. Another first micro macro cross here, now developing into a macro pullback. It does seem as though we have a little bit of a downtrend going on this morning, though, just out of the gate, or coming into this. So we'll keep an eye on that. And I imagine the Falcon will also have a whole lot of signals to show us. I won't go back through all of them, but here's a nice trend change signal on the Falcon. So the trend line changes color. And once again, you're looking for everything to come into sync. It was followed by a late filter entry signal, which is a very strong signal. Late filter entry signal. Filter goes out of sync, comes back into sync. Trend line never changes. Very, very high probability signal on the Falcon. A little bit of waffling here, but you know what? The Falcon, unlike the scalper, is looking for swing trades, right? So not everything in sync there yet. A trend change signal or an early trend change signal right here, proper trend change signal right there. Something must have happened here that it fired too quickly because we should have printed a signal somewhere through here. This is textbook, this one here. Nice trend change signal out of the open. Trend line changes color, market goes up, comes down, goes up. Everything is in sync. Very easy to take that trade. And just look at the follow through. Okay, just real quick here on the Eagle and then the Raptor, and then we'll take a look at the E-mini for those E-mini traders. I'm getting a few requests here. Okay. Yeah, lots of trades here too. My goodness, the DAX is an active market. A red bar buy right here off of the hard edge. High probability signal for the Eagle. Two red bar buys back to back. This one went up, gave you a little bit of heat. Again, all the more reason not to crowd your stops. Nice trend change signal there. So the band changes first signal, which is in sync. And that was just yesterday. And then the day before, you can see very nice signals. These are green bar cells now that we're looking for. They come into the hard edge, develop a sell signal. Here's another one, a green bar cell. All high probability signals. So you can see pretty good follow through on most of the signals. Oh, another really nice green bar cell. And we try to hold out for the higher probability signals. Try not to get too excited about just taking any old signal. And here's the Raptor now. And actually the Raptor was moving really fast here. This may have been tough to take. You did get the test of the extreme. It's almost like a rule of three, which is a signal that we see on the Eagle, where we're producing counter-trend signals against the band. Good follow through on that, but that was a little bit wild to take that one. Nice hard edge bounce here on the Raptor. That had some follow through to it. And then, of course, the signal right out of the gate, the trend change signal right there. And that was your best move on the Raptor. Okay, Jim was shooting me some advanced decline numbers here. We'll get back to the North American markets in just a moment. Deb is asking, is there an audio alert when the signals come out? Yes, there is. So you get an audio warning. This enables you to follow different markets, right? Like I typically follow 3 or 4 markets, and that allows you to follow everything, right? So if I hear scalp, sorry, I'm trying to do 2 things at once. If I hear the scalp audio alert, I really just need to check 3 charts, and one of them will have a warning dot going on. Or if like I just heard long, which means I've got a signal on the Raptor. So there's my warning dot. So now I look at my Raptor and I need to decide whether or not this is a signal that I'm going to take. Still a little premature. Okay. Vitor was asking for the Euro and the Euro USD combo. So the Euro US dollar pair, this is going to be the same, Vitor. This is the 6E. This is the futures version of the Euro dollar. And it almost looks like, oh, I'm sorry, I haven't forgotten about the E-mini, but it almost looks like we need to go to our alternate settings. Let's see. Oh yeah, these days are a little bit tight. It looks like we may have to go to our alternate settings for that. So let me just pull over another chart here. Okay, Deb was asking about the E-mini, among others. So here's the E-mini. Deb was asking 7 a.m. Eastern, what does the E-mini look like? So that's 4 p.m. my time. That's right about there. So the E-mini produced a first micro-macro cross signal that did not follow through. Right there. So no follow through on that signal. It signaled but didn't go anywhere. No, that one wasn't in sync yet. So not much out of the E-mini last night. Very, very quiet. So there was 7 a.m. Eastern right there. So you could have set up to try to buy that, and the market didn't engage. This was yesterday in the E-mini. Very, very active day in the afternoon. Nice macro pullback signal there. The E-mini, of course, a little bit more subdued. People always ask why I follow the NASDAQ or the mini Dow instead of following the E-mini. Well, quite simply, I get more bang for my buck with the NASDAQ. It's only $5 a tick. It enables me to trade multiple contracts. You can see here the E-mini is pinched between the primary support and primary resistance lines. And Bob was also asking, how many days of data do you need to produce these lines? I believe it's a 10-day minimum. No real signal out of the E-mini just yet. We did get a trend change signal here going into the open, but it didn't trigger, and now they're floundering back to the upside. 4 a.m. for the E-mini would put us right about here again. No signal on the Falcon either. Well, I guess in hindsight I can say we got a double dot sell signal, but that's cheating. When it was developing like this, I wouldn't have sold that double dot. Early trend change signal. That's about the only one that I see here this morning going into the open. We have the early trend change signal. That's one that develops just as the trend line is crossing over. This one actually tripped just before. The tip-off is the test of the extreme and the subsequent failure. Produce the signal, but honestly, that's, again, trading in hindsight, which is really easy to do, but unfortunately not very profitable. Okay, so no real clean signal on the E-mini, and let's take a look at the Eagle. It's also going to be a bit of a chop fest, I think. Actually producing a hard edge, a red bar buy off of the hard edge, so the E-mini looking more bullish than bearish, at least according to the Eagle. This tool you see here, this is also an add-on tool. This is the trade forecaster. It tells you what market the current market environment is and what the next one is likely to be. So right now we're in swing mode for about another 15 minutes, after which time we're going to be moving into scalp mode. Oh, goody. I much prefer trend mode. All right, I'll load up the euro here for Vitor. And let me just make sure I haven't missed anybody's question. Great question here from Andy. Andy asks, good evening. So Andy, you must be on the other side of the world. Well, for me anyways, I'm on the other side of the world from you. Andy asks, when using the trade manager, do you use limit orders or market orders? Great question. Here on the trade manager, we've got a whole assortment of orders. You can use a stop limit, a stop, a limit, a stop limit, or a market. I'm not quite sure why they, oh yes, I know why they put the market in, so you could still use your position sizing tool. Typically, for the way I trade, I like to use a stop order. So for instance, we're working on a, well, we just produced our signal. Oh shoot, they're going to run away on me now before I could frame that up for you. Here, let's roll this back. So we're getting a warning dot. Pardon me. Okay, so we're getting a warning dot. The next bar, once I get the warning dot, I know the next bar is likely to print a buy signal if it finishes to the upside. So now I go about to structure a trade. And for this reason, I like to normally use a stop order to bring me in because I'm trying to pick up on market momentum. I'm not usually predicting where the market's going to turn. Jim, one of our members, I know he's a little bit more aggressive on some of his trades than I am. And I have a feeling Jim probably uses limit orders a little more than I do. So for instance, you know, if the market gets back up here to the top end of this morning's trading range, I think Jim might be inclined to throw a limit order in there. The tool that you see here on the Raptor is a slightly different version of the Trade Manager. This one is called the Trailblazer. Now these are also interchangeable. Just because I have this on the Raptor doesn't mean you can't put the Trailblazer on the Falcon Swing Trader, and vice versa. You can put the Trade Manager here on the Raptor. The biggest difference is that the Raptor is a one-click system. We had owners who were saying, excuse me, we had DTS owners who were saying, you know, I get the signal, I go to set up the signal, and by the time I get back to hit the submit button, the trade has already moved and I'm not able to take the trade. You know, if they're trading crude oil back in the good old days when crude oil was on fire moving really quick, this was sometimes a problem. Or here the signal is moving lower, so I want to adjust my signal and I want to enter here and maybe place my stop there. See, it's only a couple of clicks, but they were complaining that, hey, it's unfolding too fast, do something about it. So to that end, we developed the Trailblazer. The Trailblazer is totally a one-click system. So we don't have a signal here yet, but I'm just going to show you how it works. So I've preset my order, my profit target, my order, my profit target. So I'm going to have one contract for 20 ticks, another contract for 0 ticks. In other words, it's going to be a runner. I've got a stop strategy in play here, so I've got an active stop strategy. Watch what happens when I click the buy button. So I hit the buy button, I've got my stop loss, I've got my break-even trigger, I've got my profit targets, everything is in place. So it's a one-click entry system. The only thing when you're using the Trailblazer is you need to know approximately what your position size should be so that you don't overextend yourself, right? You don't want to take huge stops and take 3 contracts and you have like $1,000 at risk when all you can afford, given your account size, is $200, right? That's a surefire way to wipe out your trading account. Absolutely. Tony asked, Eric, time permitting, can we take a look at the crude oil market prior to the report? Yes, absolutely. That's going to come out at the bottom of the hour, and I see crude oil just made a very serious rally to the upside. Oh, somebody, Vitor, remind me, have I shown you the 6E yet? I don't think I have. Yeah, Vitor's asking, does it work in Forex? Yes. It will work on any chart that you can plot on DTS. We have, plot on Ninja. We have owners who use it for trading Forex. We have owners who use it for trading the stock market. We have owners who use it for trading ETFs. I tend to focus on the futures markets because that's kind of my stock and trade. That's what the markets I trade. Here is the euro, and forgive me if I went over it already, but I'll just show it really quick. London open, first micro macro cross right here, macro pullback. So great opportunity. Now the euro is trying to turn over, maybe give us a first micro macro cross lower. And here's the euro now on the Falcon. A couple of signals. So out of the gate, we had a trend change signal just prior to the London Open. About an hour, half hour into the London session, we generated a trend change signal right here, followed by a late filter entry. See, filter goes out of sync, comes into sync. Trend line never changes. Very, very high probability signal. And we go over these signals every day, folks, in our trading room also. So, as an owner, we try to give you as much support as we can so you can learn how to use your tools. And so that you don't rely on me to find all your signals for you. A nice little hard edge bounce right here, a trend change out of the Eagle. Very good follow through on that. Pretty sure that hit its profit objective. Oh, no. Oh, sorry. I doubled the profit target for the euro. So we're still a little ways off there. All right. Oops. Pretty sure we made our high probability target though. Yeah. Yeah, no problem hitting that one. Okay. Deb is asking, what are the hours of the trading room and the cost per month? Well, Deb, the hours, we normally focus on the morning session, so from about 6:30 to 8 o'clock Pacific, so that's what, 9:30 to 11 Eastern. The afternoon session, we don't normally focus on, and that's not that there isn't good trading going on, but I leave you to trade the afternoon session on your own. It allows me to do some trading or other things. Oh, and the cost. There is no cost. What? Yes, that's true. No cost. As a DTS owner, it is included in your purchase. We want to make sure that you know how to use your tools. We realize it's a substantial investment. Anthony is asking about track records and costs. You can find out track records and costs at the Indicator Warehouse website, but the guy you want to talk to is Adam. He'll give you specifics. So there's Adam's email address if anybody is interested. But there is track record information. What we used to do, I haven't done one for a while, but what we used to do is what we call the profit run. I do 2 or 3 a year. Excuse me, I had a little coughing fit there. And with the profit run, essentially what I try to do is, well, make as much profit as possible over the span of 2 months. And yeah, I haven't done one for a little while now. We've just been doing the daily room. The thing with the profit run is it's very difficult to teach while you're trading. So with the profit run, I pretty much just focus on the trading. All right, let me show you how these tools work. We're still waffling, or yeah, I think we're going to see the market head lower. Oh, we almost had a green bar sell here. So we're into yellow bars. I'm going to ignore the signal now. We're into yellow bars. The Falcon may be giving us a trend change signal, and the Eagle here against the hard edge. So we've got a couple opportunities brewing, but no signal just yet. Vitor is asking for DTS, do I also have to buy a NinjaTrader license? Well, yes and no. NinjaTrader is free to use until you start trading with it. So if you're going to use this tool like the Trade Manager, which I don't know why you would want to trade without it, but we're working on a green bar sell here. So I'm probably going to set it up like this and like so. I'm going to submit my order. If you're going to use the NinjaTrader platform to place your orders, then yes, you pay a license fee. Oh no, this is still into yellow bars, so I'm going to cancel that. The license fee, I believe a lifetime, pardon me, a lifetime license for Ninja is $1,000, but or close to it. But they also have other payment options. You don't have to pay it outright. You can lease it. But until you start trading live with it, it's free. It's free to download. It's free to use. You need to contact your broker regarding a data feed. But no, it doesn't cost you anything. If you're already using a different platform, I do know people who use DTS and NinjaTrader and actually initiate their signals on another platform, like MetaTrader or TradeStation or whatnot. I'm not sure why you would want to do that either, but some people do. Okay, working on a possible late filter entry now on the Falcon. Really slowed down. Yeah, like Jim said, the Fed must have leaked something because the bank index is very bullish. And the advanced decline number is still very bullish. Jim shot me some numbers here. 2,100 on the buy, 650 on the sell. So if you follow the advanced decline figures, that's what, like a 1,350, 1,400 to the positive. We might anticipate a little bit of a rally out of that. Maybe. Still kind of sideways at the moment. All right, let me show you how the Trade Manager works here. We're going to print a signal. There it is. Come on, don't. You stinker. Let me get it on the second push. There we go. Okay, so we're just about to initiate a signal or a trade. There we go. We're short. And I'm trying to get my stops on the other side. Yep, there they are. So what I've done now is I've enabled my stops. And should the market continue lower here through this primary support line, you're going to see Trade Manager take my stops and start to roll them lower. Come on, NASDAQ, trying to make a point here. Now, this trade may actually end up being a little bit tight. I should have left my stop up here above the median line, but I didn't, so we'll just go with it. Maybe roll it back just a little bit more. There we go. All right, we'll keep the parabolics on standby. Oh man, they totally dried up here. Okay. So I'll go with the parabolics now. So these blue dots are the parabolic strategy. It's a little bit more aggressive as the market starts to move. I tend to move into a more aggressive strategy like the parabolics. But I'm just trying to demonstrate here how it's going to roll your stop if the NQ would actually just go a little bit lower. Here we go. Come on. Come on. So this is a late filter entry signal I'm trying to capitalize on. You probably recognize it already. So the trend line went out of sync, pardon me, filter went out of sync, came back into sync, trend line never changed color. So we're fighting here this 46.24 area. I think that was a problem spot for us yesterday too. Come on, get down there. You break that low and we'll be home free. And in fact, what I'll do is I'll cancel the profit target. Okay, there you go. So you see the parabolic starting to roll. The stop. Essentially, this enables me to look elsewhere, right? I don't even have to monitor this trade anymore. About to hit the break-even trigger. And 46.21, a problem spot also, you can see from the lows here. Okay, so now the trade hit the break-even target. The trade manager automatically moves the trade to break-even. We would have hit our high probability target here at 46.20. We'll see if we can't ride out this little bit of a swing. Maybe take it down here to the secondary support line. I could put a profit target here. Try to buy one back. If they get down there without a major pullback into our break-even stop. Much slower than what they were. Come on, get down there. So how are we doing for open profit? No, not bad. Most times I'm an all-in, all-out type trader, but we'll see if we can't get a little bit more out of this. Andy asks, I have Trade Manager. Will there be an upgrade version when NinjaTrader 8 comes out of beta? Yes, if there are any programming conflicts, they will be fixed. Vitor is asking, he says, I've already got a free license with a real broker account, but I don't know if Trade Manager will work because there are things you can't do with a free license. It should work. It shouldn't have a problem. I've never had anyone say to me, my Trade Manager doesn't work in SIM or with a free license. So I wouldn't worry about that. Jim's watching the DAX. He says it's starting to firm up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so you see, you probably noticed the width of these bars here. This is, I forgot to mention, these are the dynamic equivolume bars, and they will work on any chart style. So if you want to follow time charts, I'm using the Indicator Warehouse Mean Renko bars, which are part of the DTS package. But you can use them on time charts, tick charts, pretty much any chart style you want, and they give you a graphical representation of the volume. So we know there was a whole lot of volume associated with this bar. You can see the width of that bar relative to the other ones. So now that we've broken out here, we're getting some thin bars. Hopefully the market's going to move a little bit lower. 46.16, it looks like there's a little bit of a reaction there. Come on. Come on. And the trade manager still managing my trade. Jim says the NASDAQ is weak compared to the rest of the markets today. He says the DAX and the bank index are trying to head higher. Yeah, that's the NQ for you, fun and games. The markets don't trade in sync as much as they used to. All right, we'll put this trade up on the shelf here. We'll let the trade manager look after that. And now we're going to take a look at crude oil because we've got inventory coming out in a few moments. And it looks like the market is anticipating a bullish report. So we had the North American Open for crude oil right here, generated a late filter entry signal. Look at that move. So it ran from 43.60 to 44.60. There's a $1,000 move right there. Nice way to start your day. And now we're kind of moving a little bit sideways. A lot of times what we tend to do for inventory for crude is we'll bracket any obvious ranges, and today could be one of those days. We're seeing support on this resistance line here. We're seeing resistance at this resistance line here. We could employ our OCO function, and we could sell down here. We could buy up here. Now, when you use the OCO function, remember these orders are live the moment you put them on your chart. So you don't want to put them up there and then forget about them. Okay, now stop strategy is going to be a different story. Oops. I'm trying to find a stop strategy that's going to be a little bit more conservative. Try to keep me in a trade longer. Yeah, there's percentage. Maybe I'll go with chandelier. Well, chandelier and percentage pretty much the same at that point. All right, let's crank up the ATR. All right, maybe I'll go with that. At least start. I don't want to leave myself without a stop. And from the looks of it, like I said, the buyers seem to have control this morning. Whether the market will rally more remains to be seen. So we've got a few minutes before crude inventory, and you know what? We'll just for kicks, we'll throw the Geiger counter on here today, because the Geiger counter is always fun to watch when the inventory is released. You'll see this little dial go crazy. Deb is asking, does this work with the Russell also? Yes, folks, it will work with any market you can plot on NinjaTrader. So I just heard my order fill. Oops. We'll bring crude oil back in a moment. So here is it looks like we got stopped on a little bit of a retracement here, got tagged by the parabolic stop, but you can see how I didn't even have to monitor the trade at all. Once the signal was taken, Trade Manager pretty much did everything else for me. So yes, you can follow any market. You can follow the Russell. If you can plot it on Ninja, you can follow it. You can follow Apple, Google, Facebook, ABC Electric, whatever. If you can plot it, you can trade it with the DTS system. The reason is the DTS system, it's designed to pick up momentum and certain characteristics that price exhibits when a market is scalping or swing trading or trending. So it really doesn't matter what the market is. Yes, well, Deb asked, does it also work with stocks and options? Yes, it works with, I've never tried it on options. Mike Filigera, he trades the stock market with DTS. He trades Apple, Tesla, all the big boys. Oh, way to go, Mark. Mark says, I've been having good results with the Falcon. Of late, another good late filter entry signal, making 3 trades for the day. I'm done with another 600 plus day. 2 days, 6 trades, $1,200 profit, no losses. Nicely done, Mark. Knocking it out of the park. Jim's up 2 trades for 25 ticks. Way to go, Jim. Mike is asking, the Falcon is for swing trading, Raptors for scalping, Eagle and Hawk are for what? Okay, we've got just a couple minutes here. The Hawk is your scalper. Let me move this out of the way. The Hawk is your scalping tool. The Falcon is your swing trading tool. The Eagle is your trend trading tool. The Raptor is like a hybrid. The Raptor incorporates elements of the scalper, swing trader, and trend trader. We had people looking for a one screen system. I guess if you're trying to trade off of a laptop, they found the 3 screens taking too much screen real estate, or I forget the exact reason behind it, but yeah, the Raptor it incorporates elements of all 3. It's just like a hybrid car in a way. You know, a Prius will get you from A to B just like a Corvette, but a Prius is not a Corvette, right? A Corvette has been designed to get you from A to B as quickly as possible. You don't buy a Corvette to take the kids to soccer, right? That's why you've got the minivan or the Prius. The Raptor is much the same way. It's a hybrid of the other tools. It will produce scalp signals, but maybe not as efficiently as the Hawk. It will produce swing signals, but again, not as efficiently as the Falcon. It will produce trend signals, but maybe not as efficiently as the Eagle. That's not to say the Raptor is not a good tool. The Raptor is a tremendous tool, and we've got quite a few Raptor owners in the room who do very well with it. Jim, for instance, is a Raptor owner, and he's always posting his trades. He focuses on the mini Dow, the YM, and there's not too many days that Jim doesn't report a profitable day. All right, our Geiger counter, look at these islands here in the selling. Serious selling pressure going on. I wonder if the bears are allowing or if the bulls are allowing the bears to load up. Look at all that selling pressure, and the market's not budging. What time have we got? Okay, the report should hit the floor any second now. Huh, I wonder if they factored everything in already. It's no longer a surprise. Normally we see crude oil just lose it when the inventory release happens. Okay, producing a buy signal on the Falcon. If I didn't know it was crude inventory, I would go in now with a buy signal here. Look at the volume on these bars though. Look how thin they are compared to these guys here. All right, we should see some resistance come in right here around the 45 mark. All right, there they go. I'm going to disable the break-even trigger. And don't you dare look back. We'll hold that down here for a little bit. I just don't trust crude oil. Come on, give me that pivot. Give me this late filter entry. Now, once again, you can see DTS actually picked up the signal before the move. We got the signal way down here. Look at that island. That spike in the buying. Oh, oh no, they're waffling a little bit. Come on, buyers. Let's crank this over. This is a problem with trading breakouts. For those of you unfamiliar with our breakout strategy, let me go over it real quick with you. Whenever you define a range like this, normally when you're trading a breakout, what we're looking for is we're looking for a breakout. That's what I refer to as the test. And now the retest. This is the buyer's last chance to recover the market. If they don't recover it here, it's very likely to give us a test of the extreme and a failure. Same thing happens on the reverse. If we break through the low, this is our test, this is our retest, and then we expect the sellers to recover the market. If they don't, then the buyers are likely to rally the market. Let's see. Okay, so come on, buyers. Oh, the meter is just waffling so much. Pretty much just trading punches here. I'm not liking that the meter is rolling over here to the spending so much time on the bears side. Come on, just give me a bar here to roll. Come on, get up there. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at rolling my stop, put it below that low until I change my stop strategy. And it may turn out to be a little bit too cozy, but like I say, this is crude oil. We're working on this retest now. Come on, buyers, get up there. Nope, they're going to tag me here in a moment. Possible trend change signal to the downside. Not our typical crude inventory release. It looks like the wind came out of their sails early with this move right here. So it looks like when the inventory was released, it was no longer a surprise for the market. In fact, we may even see it decline a little bit. So not as an eventful inventory report as we normally see. Yeah, like Tony says, doggone it. Crude used to be so much fun. It did. Now it's ho-hum. The signal to take was, and we had our OCO trade in. I was showing how the OCO function worked. But the signal to take was this one right here. Nice little trend change signal. Nice little test of the extreme right here. Nice little bounce off of the support line or the resistance line. That's the signal you wanted right there. That's a pretty high probability signal, actually. Oops. Let's try that again. No problem hitting our profit target. Actually, a good one to leave a little bit of a runner on. A lot of times if I'm in a trade for a onesie, I'll try to let it run out. Try to pick up a few extra dollars. Okay, the NASDAQ right back into some resistance now near these highs. So 46.30. Getting a first micro macro cross, you've heard me say this is a high probability signal, which it is. Problem is I have very little structure here. So quite honestly, if I were to set up this trade, I'd probably set it up something like that. Give myself a chance to hit my profit target before the market may stop me out. Trying to get a little more structure here. The Raptor gave us a soft edge sell, or pardon me, a soft edge buy. Getting my signals mixed up. Quite honestly, this would take a little bit of nerve. We had our test of the extreme, which is what we want to see before we get into the soft edge buy or the soft edge sell. And then we generate the buy signal. Now, normally we only anticipate these to get to the hard edge, and you can see we're almost there. Very often, though, when they produce near the hard edge, they'll go a little bit further. And that one seems to have had some decent follow through to it. Yeah, Mark, you're doing it right. Holding out for those good trades. I'm just checking the questions, making sure I haven't forgotten anyone. If I have, please repost it or just remind me, tell me to look back in the question box. No, I think I got everybody. And now they're just kind of sitting there again. Okay. I'm just snooping around here trying to see if there's anything interesting to trade. Well, no real signal on the NQ. Gold is pretty quiet today too. Gold just moving more or less sideways. Here's gold on the Eagle. It's kind of flat. Good rally out of the open though. My goodness, everybody made their move out of the open this morning. So here's gold a few minutes after the open. We get a nice little with trend signal right here, and just look at that follow through. So great opportunities here this morning. I'm just curious what that one was worth. So if we took the signal right there, well, actually, in actual fact, we'd be taking that one. Cover below here, and let's say we got stopped out right about there. Oh, that's a decent move. Just shy of $500. And now we're stuck. Again, one of these ranges, right? It's no point in doing anything until you get outside of this range. Or if you're inclined, you can try to buy the bottom end of the range, sell the top end of the range. But here too, if it's going to break out to the upside, it will give you that retest and then that buying opportunity. If that buying opportunity fails, you're going to see it head lower. Likewise, the test, the retest, that selling opportunity, if it fails, you've got your test of the extreme and an excuse to buy. These patterns develop time and again. That's why we look for them. They're pretty easy to spot using these mean Renko bars. The mean Renko bars are really good at showing you the price action. Who is in control, who's gaining control. So you can try to align yourself on the right side of the market. But the NQ, oh, getting pretty quiet right now. Ron asks, if I were to join your group and I saw a possible trade on a market you weren't currently watching, I could bring it to your attention to get your opinion? Absolutely. Providing I can pull it up with my data feed, of course. Vitor's got some questions here about DTS and making sure it works with the free NinjaTrader license. It will work, Vitor, but I'm going to give you, once again, Adam's email address here in case you didn't get it before. Shoot an email to Adam. He is the guy who will make sure that all your questions are answered. Deb is asking, which data feed company do you like the best? I'm currently using Kinetic. I haven't had any problems with them. Some of the DTS owners are using Continuum, and I think they haven't experienced any problems either. Used to use Zenfire. I kind of miss Zenfire. Of course, they are no more. I've tried almost all of them. I think I've had Rhythmic for a while. Like I say, I've got Kinetic now. Continuum. I think the only one I haven't tried is CQG, but Ray Burke used to trade using CQG. And he never had any problems. right, well, we're kind of hitting the flat zone here. Oh, see, Tony uses CQG. He says they've got great service. Yeah, the advanced decline still really bullish. Jim's shooting me some numbers here. 2,300 to the upside, just shy of 600 to the downside. And yet, well, I guess we did see a pretty good rally here from these lows. All right, might be working into a 4-arrow consolidation pattern here with the hawk. I would welcome a little bit of a pullback here, maybe get back to the macro line, generate a macro pullback even. The Raptor, the clouds have crossed over. When that happens, we tend to see the clouds offering some support, in this case, support for the market. Yeah, we haven't brought the YM over here yet. Let's take a look at the mini Dow. So we've got the mini Dow here, and there we go. Jim says the equivolume bars are kind of thin going higher, so, but that's to be anticipated. Once a market is trending, the bars tend to be thinner, and then they'll get thicker where the buyers and sellers start competing again. You've no doubt heard of the analogy that trading is an auction, which it is, right? You're buying and selling at certain prices, just as though you were bidding on a piece of furniture at your local auction. If everybody really, really likes that piece of furniture, there's going to be a lot of participation and someone's going to end up to be the winner. If nobody really cares about the price, there's not going to be a whole lot of participation. So that's what you kind of see happening here. There was a lot of participation here around 175.60 because buyers and sellers both like that price. We know because the market went higher that the buyers won. The buyers overwhelmed the sellers. But when the market is trending, yeah, you don't expect wide bars. And you can see that for yourself if you go back to periods when the market trends. See, here was an auction again, things getting a little hot and heavy. No doubt this was a reaction to this price level here where the sellers took control previously. Comes back, sellers trying to force the market down, and the buyers end up taking control, and then we have a nice little rally until we hit the next auction point. Now, from the width of these bars, it almost looks like the buyers just gave up. The sellers didn't have to do a whole lot to keep them down. So a decent morning in the mini Dow. Also got a double pullback here off of the hard edge. Came out with our signal right here and just keep going. So pretty smooth day in the mini Dow today. Oh, Jim's getting aggressive here. Jim's cloud setup is a little bit different than mine, so he's been watching the overbought situation here of the cloud. The cloud is getting quite wide. He says it's up at 52 ticks. So anything, what did you say, Jim? Around 45, 50 ticks. The market is pretty much overbought. And so we might see a little bit of a move lower here. Short at one. Oh, sorry. I thought you were short here. Never mind. Wow. Jim says yesterday's clouds got as high as 89 before there was a reversal. Okay, well, you can see here on the Eagle, we're back against these highs, and speaking of wider bars, you can see quite a bit of market participation at these prices now. Oh, sorry, last week those ranges were up to 89. Well, we might see something break out here yet. Here's crude oil on the hawk with a red bar buy. Now the red bar buy is that signal that we can actually do the contra. We can trade it as the failure. If this market is going to head lower. It's in a pretty strong uptrend today, though. David is asking, does the Raptor come with instructions on which signals to take? Yes, we do have the Raptor manual. We also have the trading room, and we have the Raptor forum. There's actually a forum for Raptor owners and DTS owners where there's some really good conversations going on there, where owners are sharing signals that they're finding to be high probability signals. And of course, we tend to review things daily in the room also. And you can always email me. So we try to make sure that you have all the information you need to make it work. Yeah, Frank is asking, where is Ray nowadays? You know, Frank, it's been, actually, it's got to be about 6 months since I spoke to Ray. I honestly don't know what he's up to now. I know he took a little bit of a sabbatical. His life took a little bit of a U-turn with his divorce and everything, and I really should drop him an email, see how he's doing. Chris asks, is the NQ the best market for this instrument? Because you keep showing it. No. In case any of you have joined late, you can use any market you want to trade DTS or the Raptor. If you can plot it on NinjaTrader, you can trade it with DTS and the Raptor. The reason I go to the NASDAQ is I think the NASDAQ is one of the best markets available for the retail trader. You know, if you're one of these guys who is trading less than $100,000 account, I think the Raptor is the best. The Raptor. The NASDAQ is one of the best markets you can choose. The NASDAQ has normally got very good volatility throughout the day. But the best thing about the NASDAQ is that it's only $5 a tick. Now you can trade the E-mini also, but the E-mini is at 12.50 a tick. Why should that matter? You're saying, well, at 12.50 a tick, I would be making more money, wouldn't I? Well, no, not necessarily. So let's see if I can find an example here. All right, here, let's just do this current trade. This isn't one of our signals, but we're going to set it up anyhow. So if I'm trading the NASDAQ at $5 a tick, I don't have to crowd my trade. Right? You can see that Trade Manager is going to allow me about $325 to take this trade. It's saying that's what I can afford. That's 2% of my trading capital. But, you know, structurally, this is not a high probability trade. We're talking probabilities now, not risk reward. What's the probability the market will hit my profit target before hitting my stop loss? 50-50 maybe. You know, my stop loss is pretty tight. What about if I gave the trade a little bit more room? What if I went below this itty bitty swing low down here? Oh, look, I'm risking approximately the same amount of money, still risking $320. But what's the probability that this trade will work out? Well, it's probably a little bit better, isn't it? Maybe 70-30, because I've given the market that much more room. Now, what if I placed my stop way, way, way down here? Oops, sorry, went a little bit too far. Trade Manager says, sorry, Eric, you can't afford it. Okay, what if I place my stop way down here? Oh, it's still the same amount. I'm still risking the same amount. I'm trading fewer contracts, obviously. But what is the probability that I will hit my profit target before I hit my stop loss? 80-20? 90-10? I got a whole lot of room here to sweat the market and a fairly conservative profit target. So I would never be able to do that with the E-mini. I would never be able to risk my trade that low. And here's the other thing. Even if I give the trade a reasonable amount of room, I can trade two contracts. If I'm trading the E-mini, I'm only trading one, guaranteed. Well, the big problem with trading one contract is, how do I manage it? Right? Do I take profit on target? Do I leave it in for a runner? What do I do? Well, when you're able to trade multiple contracts, it gives you more options. I can take profit on one. I can leave one in as a runner in case the market goes further than I expect. So that's why I keep coming back to the NASDAQ. The mini Dow, the YM, is also a $5 instrument. It also offers some decent trades. I think the NASDAQ has a little bit more volatility to it. I never used to follow the NASDAQ, not for the longest time. And I remember one of the members, a lady out of Florida, she would, every day she'd be posting her results. Oh, Eric took another $500 out of the NQ today. Oh, it took another $800 out of the NQ today. Oh, okay, I better start paying attention to what the NASDAQ is doing. Everybody always goes toward those big name markets, right? Like everybody loves the E-mini, and there's nothing wrong with the E-mini. I like the E-mini also. But dollar for dollar, the NASDAQ is going to give you more bang for your buck. What a lot of people don't realize also is that if you get a $200 move on the E-mini, you're going to get a corresponding $200 move on the NASDAQ. So why would you not trade the cheaper instrument? There's lots of volume here. And like I said, ample volatility. The British pound, for those of you who like to trade the currencies, the British pound is one of these types of instruments also. The euro trades at 12.50 a tick. The British pound trades at 6.25. So again, you get a little bit more bang for your buck. But that's why I keep going to the NQ. It's just kind of my pet market. But no, you can trade any of these. You want to trade feeder cattle? Let's see what's going on with feeder cattle this morning on DTS. Might not be a whole lot. We'll take a look here while that's loading. Oh, very nice compliment here from Tony. Tony writes, for people considering DTS or the Raptor, Indicator Warehouse customer support is second to none. Adam, Ben, and Eric will all answer your emails or questions. Well, thanks, Tony. For those of you who have emailed me and haven't heard back from me, I apologize. I have been swamped with emails the last couple of days. I will get to you. I have got your email. So you can see here's feeder cattle on the Hawk. We just printed a first micro macro cross signal. I've never tried feeder cattle here. Let's see. Oop, that's out of range. What about here? There we go. So we just took a little scalp trade there in feeder cattle. A little green bar sell here. I wonder if that one hit its profit target. So here's the green bar with the sell signal. That normally tells us a trend is ending. Oh, it hit its target also. But you see what I mean? Like it doesn't matter the market. You're still going to generate signals, even if you were trading feeder cattle. Nice little trend change signal right here. And are they up to their target yet? Ah, darn it. Feeder cattle, you can see, is a little bit more expensive. It's like trading crude. Okay, hit our high probability target there on feeders. And we're just generating a trend change signal here on feeder cattle. So we're not to our profit objective there yet, but a nice little move all the same. And let's take a look here at the Raptor. And the Raptor, a double pullback into the hard edge generates a signal. So a decent signal on the Raptor also. I might have to start paying more attention to feeder cattle. Just joking. See, you can even do, like, here's Sirius Radio. This is what many people would consider a penny stock. Oh, we're going to have to do some serious adjustment here. Okay, so if this happens to you, if you happen to put your market up and you get all these daybreak lines, this is telling me that the default settings are too big. So we're going to need to scale those down in order to get tradable signals, unless you want to trade it end of day. I won't do that right now, but you know, we can scale this back so that we get some tradable signals on DTS. So obviously not much going on with Sirius Radio throughout the day. Let's take a look at the SPY. Debbie's asking, what's the tick value on feeder cattle? 1250. 1250 a tick. Okay, so here's the SPY for those of you looking to trade the less expensive version of the E-mini. Actually, the SPY, you know, for day trading, I think I prefer the SPY. A nice macro pullback here. Also was a 4-arrow consolidation. That was about a half hour into the session. Here was the market open, generated a first micro-macro cross lower. That had a little bit of follow through to it. Here's a macro pullback that failed. Again, something you'll never see another trading room moderator show you. I probably would have set up the trade like that. And then the market starts to peel against me, and now it starts to head a little bit lower. Now I'm starting to roll my stop, and I would normally roll my stop fairly aggressively, bar for bar. The idea here is that the sellers gave me a sell signal. The buyers came in, forced the market higher. The sellers tipped their hand and said, okay, we're prepared to start selling again. So I'm going to take my stop loss from up here and start rolling it down. Because if the sellers lose control at this point, I might as well leave the market because they're going to stop me out. And there they go. Well, actually, if I didn't have it quite so tight, I might have been able to get a little bit lower. But even here, it looks like I would have lost about half my initial risk, so maybe about $170. So there's the SPY on the Hawk, the scalper. Falcon swing trader, again, nice little trend change signal right out of the open or shortly after the open. There's your day right there. Like, there's no point in even trading the afternoon after a nice move like that. Stay home, count your money. Here's the red bar buy off of the hard edge. Again, pretty much coincided. All these signals seem to trip more or less around the same time today. All right, and the Raptor. Again, this signal here is easy to see in hindsight, but would not have been quite as easy to take real time. You did get the failure, the test of the extreme, the trend change. I would have been anticipating some sort of signal to print right about here as we get back to these highs, some sort of cloud support. And we didn't get the signal until a little bit later right here, but it still had enough follow through to it. Normally that's what we get when the clouds cross over. We get a little bit of a pullback of sorts, generates a signal most times, allowing you to get in a little bit earlier. But even if you didn't, it still turned out to offer a profitable opportunity there. Okay, so we're at the top of the hour. I think we're going to close up the room. I'm going to read Mark's comment here, not because he says nice things, but because he went through all the trouble of typing it. And we'll close the room with that. Good comment by Tony, Mark says. I echo that as well regarding the customer service. He says, I've always received excellent customer service, normally within an hour of requesting it. That's one of the things that sets Indicator Warehouse apart. The trade room with Eric, though, is probably the best feature, and I'm not saying that because I get anything more than the excellent education benefits it offers. Well, thank you very much, Mark. That's very nice of you to say. If you follow Eric's relentless explanations of the high probability signals, it's not hard to make money with DTS. Ken is asking, how much does the SPY pay? The SPY pays $10. Well, it's a stock or an ETF, so I think it's $1 a share. You'll see the numbers on the SPY are Like if I place an order, it's like stock market stuff. We're trading 1,000 shares. And if you're trading the SPY, you're probably going to want to set your trade manager to round to the nearest 100 so you don't get orders like this. And yes, you can do that. You can set up your trade manager. Same thing when you're trading Forex. You can, so you don't get those odd quantities, you can force the trade manager to round up or down to the nearest 100 or whatever quantity you want. All right, you guys, I know we didn't do that much trading today. The big move came early, but it looks as though the NQ, being the NQ, is still bound and bent to head higher. So for those of you trading this afternoon, I don't know, I would think some sort of retracement was in order, but I would not get too aggressive to the short side. All right, crude oil, they've made their run up too, so they're done. Gold still stuck sideways, nothing going on there. DTS owners, I will see you in the trading room tomorrow morning. And remember, folks, we will have another open house next Wednesday if you would like to join us. And I'll talk to you guys then. All right, bye for now.